Hey, what's up? It's Matt here. Today, I want to answer a question from Xander Johnson, who asked, "Hey, Matt, if you had to start your online business all over again, what would you do differently? If you had to start over, what would you do differently?" And that's a challenge for me to answer in a short amount of time because the answer is I would change so many things. So I made a list. I kind of went through and I said, okay, what are the three things that I think would have made the biggest difference? Not just bottom line dollars, but what would have made the biggest difference to me and my enjoyment of all of this? And I came up with three things. The first thing I would do differently if I had to start all over again is I would do a lot more video. I would put myself on video a lot more. The reality is when I started my blog for 3.5 years, I kind of uh, hid behind the blog. I wasn't out there publicly. My audience, the only glance they got at my face was my header image, which I will admit was like 5 years old. That's all they had. They had no video of me, no connection. And then one day I was out running and I was listening to a song by Need to Breathe. It's called Keep Your Eyes Open. And I was like, you know what? This is a message I want to share. And the only way I know how to share this is via video. So I went and grabbed the iPad and I'm like gross and sweaty. I'm outside and I shot this video, like selfie video, right? And that's that was my entry into video. And I finished it and I went, well, that was easy. And I published it. And that one video got more comments than almost any blog post I'd ever done. That one video, I got more emails and social media shares. And it was just a simple message. It took me like 5 minutes to record. And I remember going, wow, I did a video. It took me 5 minutes to record. I put it up on the blog. I put like an intro paragraph, and that was it. That whole content creation, that the same process had I put it in blog post form would have taken me an hour, took me 10 to 12 minutes. So I won by taking less time. I also won by putting myself in front of my audience, and they appreciated that. They felt a deeper connection with me. So that's number one. I would have done a lot more video. Number two is a tough one to say. It's a tough one to admit. It's also a tough one because I know that not everybody was in the position that I was in when I started my online business, meaning I did have a little bit of money, a little bit of disposable income. But the second thing I would have done, and I would encourage you to do, if at all possible, is stop being so cheap. Stop being so cheap. I was still being cheap when we were making nearly $500,000 in our business. But I would stop. I would have not been so cheap early on. My monthly expenses when we were first getting started were maybe, $300 to $500. After about a year, they were about $500, and they kind of stagnated there for the next year and a half. And now there were other issues why I've shared before why I wasn't making more money. But I believe one of the reasons why I wasn't being successful is I wasn't investing in my business. I wasn't willing to take the courses. I wasn't willing to, even buy the books. And they're like $15 on Amazon, and I wasn't willing to buy them. Sometimes I would buy like a few, but not as many as I needed. I also was really cheap on my WordPress theme. I used a free theme initially, and I was really cheap with my hosting. I was like paying $6 a month, $7 a month for hosting. And all the things that you can, I didn't buy like the premium podcast player like we did. And so just in the past roughly 6 months, maybe a year, in the past year, we have significantly upgraded our hosting. We're with a company now called Agathon, and we're using like 10% of the potential firepower we could use. Our server is beefed up and it is fast and there's no downtime and the service is amazing and we get the things that we need and want from them and we love it. We have a premium theme with Get Noticed. We use the smart podcast player from Pat Flynn that is phenomenal. We've bought the courses and we've invested in them. We've invested in the live events. We've invested in our clients and in relationships. We just stopped being so cheap. Just today, I had this like moment. We're working on a newsletter that we're going to send out, a physical newsletter to affiliates. And I remember hearing the printing cost. And for just a second, I was like, oh, Oh man, that is painful. So of course I got online. I'm like, let me see if I can find something cheaper. And yeah, we found an option that was like $75 cheaper, but it doesn't get here for a number of days. And I just went, you know what? This is just easier. It's easier for me. It's easier for my team. So we're gonna pay the six, seven, $800, whatever it is, and I'm gonna be okay with that. So I would have stopped being so cheap a lot earlier. And the third thing is I would have gotten very clear on my message. And what I mean by that is I would have gotten clear sooner on my one thing. I've shared it before and I'll share it 100 more times. Message I got from Ryan Eliason at Danny and he's he had a mastermind for his top affiliates a couple of years ago. And Ryan said, don't do things that you don't want to be known for. Just don't do things that you don't want to be known for. And I was doing a lot of things I didn't want to be known for. I didn't even know what I wanted to be known for. I wasn't clear on my message. I would have spent the time, I wouldn't have launched until I was clear on what my one thing is. Even if that one thing felt like such a tiny, tiny niche. Yeah, I was recently talking with one of our No Product, No Problem students, and she's a blogger. Her entire blog is about traveling to Key West. And later that day after I talked to her, I did an interview for a summit, an online virtual summit. And, I've got my whiteboard here behind me. And I literally said, think about in the scope of this whiteboard, this big whiteboard being the world. And I took one of these, what are these called? Dry erase markers. And I just tapped it real tiny. I said, that's Key West. That's how small of a niche she is in. 99.9999999, something like that, percent of the world will never travel to Key West, Florida. But if she can capture the ones who do, she's on, like, she's got some really cool stuff. And I shared some ideas with her, talked about how she can monetize, and she's on her way. My point is, you've got to be super crystal, insanely, painfully clear on your message. I say painfully because it can be really hard and painful to niche down one more notch, niche down a notch. It can be hard to do that. It can be painful. And I want to speak to more people. No, not initially. Not initially. So I definitely would have done more video. I definitely would have started investing more. I'm not saying I would have gone, been extravagant, but I would have got a better host. And I probably would have bought one online course and gone to one online event and got a better theme. And then I definitely would have gotten clearer on my message. So those are 3 things that you can do today, wherever you're at in your business. It took me a while. It took me almost 4 years to figure those things out. Hope it doesn't take you that long. So if you're at the beginning, consider those as possible options to accelerate your online business. And that includes affiliate marketing. So I hope those help you, and I'll see you in the next episode.